Right, hello, welcome to another Geography podcast with myself, Mr. Baxter, and today we're here with one of the best maths teachers in the Federation, Mr. Chapman. How are you, sir?
Firstly, I did not say that. Hello.
You can pay me now or later, that's up to you. You had a good day?
Yeah, I've had a long day.
Part of our course is is climate change, and we've talked about the causes with Mr. Allsop, so we thought we'd do the impact. Okay, but I want to just start just by giving you a few quotes from a man called Carl Pilkington, also known as an idiot abroad.
Favourite of yours.
He really is.
Right.
I'll just give you a few quotes. The first two aren't related to climate change, but just to get you thinking. You just got to fill in the blank.
Okay.
He said, "You'll never see an old man eating a what?"
First thing in my head was sandwich, but I think you can see an old man.
Have you never seen an old man eat a sandwich?
Apple?
No, it's a Twix. The what are a bad design. Okay, you've got big lounges, but the bedrooms are tiny. So this is when he goes around the world and sees different
Travel
things.
lodge?
Pyramids, great pyramids.
Okay, I've never been, I wouldn't know.
Big lounge, tiny bedrooms. Right, final one then. This is...
There's actually any kind of semblance of a truth there.
No, that's why he's in a programme called Idiot Abroad.
Okay, alright.
If you believe him, well, there's more about you, I think. Right, number 3. They keep saying the seas are rising, but it's not to do with icebergs melting. It's just because there's too many what in the ocean?
Whales? I don't know.
Fish, he said, yeah. So what's that? 1 out of 3. If we start with talking about sea level rising, how much do you think the sea rises a year? Because this is something which I think is over sort of estimated by a lot of people.
I don't know, maybe like 6 centimetres?
2 to 3 millimetres.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you a few examples. What I'd like you to do is at the end rank them from 1 to 10 on the Mr. Baxter's severity scale.
Okay.
10 being like a real big disaster, 1 you're not actually that bothered about at all.
Alright.
So the rising sea level, I've got a place called Easter Island, if you've heard of that.
I have heard of
It's a
it.
tiny island in the Pacific Ocean where you've got over 800 sort of stone statues, which they're not too sure why they were put there. I think it's maybe some sort of respect to the god. But these stone statues are actually being eroded, particularly the platforms that are below them. The sea is now rising up and actually getting onto these platforms and these stone statues.
Okay.
Now, you don't seem too concerned by this at all, so let's give you another island.
Well, just because I inhaled didn't mean anything.
You've got an island called Kiribati Island,
Kiribati.
which is also another Pacific island. At
Yeah.
its highest, it's 6 feet above sea level. So I imagine you're about 6 foot, aren't you?
Yeah.
So imagine, the highest point of
Okay.
this island is you.
Does that mean I can see everything on the island?
Or conversely, everyone will be able to see you.
Yeah.
I don't know
My
if
head would be popping
if these people are just like innately very small. You jump onto Kiribati Island.
Not
It's
very
like,
good at hiding.
it's like an episode of The Borrowers.
Yeah.
Tie him down quick.
Right.
But this island can be swamped by 2050, and they're actually buying land in another island called Fiji,
Okay.
which is over 1,000 miles away.
Okay.
Now they're doing that because their land will ultimately go.
Yeah.
But why do you think people are against it? If you are from Kiribati,
Why?
Kiribatian, would that let's just say that's the
Yeah.
phrase. But some people are really anti-going. Why do you think that is?
Because people have like an identity, a connection to the land in which they live, more so than maybe you or I would feel. I imagine they're like, this is where all my ancestors grew up.
Yeah.
This is my home. I don't want to go somewhere else.
No, that's right.
Why? Just
Different
because
culture.
someone else has been polluting, does my community have to go?
Yes, that's a great point. And in this particular case, they're actually incredibly religious.
Okay.
So just a quote from one of the people on the Kiribati Islands. "We're not going to sink because we worship God, and he's the only one who can decide the fate of this country, and we've done nothing wrong." Rising sea level, what would you score it?
Maybe like a 6.
Oh, we're doing another one. Climate change has sort of indirectly altered 52% of all species that we know about, which is a massive percentage.
Okay.
Animals that enjoy colder weather, obviously, you're going to have to start migrating further north. We're now seeing new species being created because when we are forcing animals closer together, they then ultimately will probably start mating with each other.
That's where the hybrids has come from.
Yes, and then we'll start to create new
Alright.
species. So, I've given you 3 pictures, a little bit of homework beforehand. So the first one,
Can
what
I
do you
change my
think?
answer
No,
to
you
one?
can't change your answer. No, we're doing this in one take.
Alright.
What do you call this first animal then?
I was
what
gonna call
two
it-
animals do you think they are?
I was going to call it a broiler bear, brown, and a polar bear mix, I think.
Okay. So the first one, you're not actually too far away. It's called the growler.
It's the growler.
Yeah. So it is a polar
Oh, so I
bear.
was right.
It's a polar bear and a grizzly bear.
Oh, grizzly
So
bear.
they put that together. Right, the
Alright.
next one then
Okay.
is this one here. What name have you got for that one?
A lepardua, cross between a leopard and a jaguar, but that's just...
Odd looking, isn't it? So
Yeah.
2 big cats in North America that have now come together and started to mate. You've got
Oh, is it a lion?
No, it's a bobcat and a lynx.
What kind of link?
So it's called a blinks. And the last one, what do you call it?
Alright, this one over here. I called it a found, mixed between a fox and a hound. But
It's probably the furthest away that you've been. It's a coyote and a wolf hybrid.
And a wolf.
So a Kai-wolf is its new name. So what sort of score would you give the changing of the world species today?
I'd say, because it's happening on a much larger scale, 8.
Oh, an 8. Oh, so I think that's high. All right then. Cool. We'll do 2 more.
Right.
Question for you.
Okay.
Deadliest creature in the world. What is it? What's
Deadliest
your guess?
creature? Mosquito.
Very good. Excellent. That kills roughly about 1 million people.
Yeah.
Really, really deadly. So we've got humans 2. Just by murder alone, the rough rate is 500,000. Any idea what 3, 4, and 5 are on the list?
I don't know. On my list, I put a hippo, but I don't actually think there are that many places with hippos. And
Yeah, they're not actually that deadly. Yeah,
although,
just got
if you're near a hippo, they are pretty deadly.
Yeah, they can kill you.
What other things? It's probably gonna be like cows.
Got snakes is number 3. Scorpions is number 5.
Dogs.
Yeah, dogs.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so dogs are number 4th on the list, mainly due to rabies. This is only one website.
That'd be
check
like
this out.
very dependent on the country you're in as well.
Yes, it would. Yeah, but apparently they kill about 25,000 people a year. Do you have a dog?
I don't have a dog.
Good.
Well, I did see a dog this morning.
Right.
Kind of.
Is it
a pretty big one?
Is it frothing at the mouth?
Yeah.
Acting a bit crazy.
I'd probably be a bit more scared now knowing that fact.
Yeah. So you know your parents when you're abroad say keep away from them stray cats and dogs.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like fleas or something. It's actually rabies.
Well,
apparently there's no known cure for.
Rabies.
Yeah.
I thought you could get the little jab thing. Oh, my parents just told me that if you got bit, they gave you a jab, and it was really painful.
I see. My parents told me there's no cure.
Oh no, that's tetanus. I'm thinking of tetanus.
Oh, okay, right. Well, maybe. Who's to say? Let's just stay away from them. Okay, so obviously, the hotter the world gets, the more chance of mosquitoes, particularly the ones that carry malaria, impacting on populations because they love really warm conditions with lots of standing water. Yep. As the planet heats up, there's going to be more areas at risk. So potentially then that 1 million a year could easily grow. How would you score that one?
Well, pretty high. I'm gonna say a 9 just so I keep a 10 just safe.
Last one, a headline from National Geographic. Did climate change drive the recruitment for ISIS in Iraq? During periods of drought, the ISIS recruiters would turn up to these sort of farmers markets and all these farmers would be there sort of getting poorer and poorer and being more desperate. And they'll be there handing out food or water or just the idea of a better life. So in 2014, ISIS, with the help of a lot of recruited farmers, actually took over what's called the Mosul Dam. So a huge body of fresh water in a very arid region. Do you know actually the name for the Mosul Dam? Before it was called the Mosul Dam.
I don't know.
This is
no
great.
idea.
It's called the Saddam Dam. Now, I'm really disappointed that they didn't keep that name. I guess for obvious reasons they didn't. But
why? Because it's a terrible name.
Why it's not called
it's,
just Saddam?
Named after.
So they had a massive reservoir behind this dam, and they actually took it over and they threatened to sort of explode it and then create a massive wave.
Which would hit Mosul or?
Yeah, all the way downstream. So I guess potentially then, just using this as an example, the weaponisation of fresh water in a country could well be something that hits not just Iraq in the future, but a lot of Middle Eastern states. Final one then, as a score, threat to the future, how big do you think the weaponisation of water, particularly behind big dams like the Saddam Dam?
Why is climate change a big factor there?
Because climate change is evaporating lots and lots of fresh water. So where that water is becomes more and more significant.
Okay, so it's about withholding water from population.
Yeah, particularly who controls it.
There is a James Bond film. I think
we'll put the link in.
I think water is becoming more and more difficult to find close to population centres. Is out of 10?
This is out of 10. So you've given malaria 9.
Maybe an 8. Maybe an 8.
Yeah, that's still high. Right, good. So hopefully then, what we've discovered today is we can't just talk about polar bears when it comes to the impacts of climate change. Yes, polar bears are important and they look cute, so everyone considers them to be the most important creature. But there's obviously lots of other impacts of climate change as well. There we are. It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.